Can we say that? Save our schools?
Our schools.
That's right.
This court will now come to order. I see we have one case on the docket this evening. The people versus defendants. Robbie Manning, Eli Broad, Artie Duncan, Campbell Brown.
Yeah.
All nice people.
The charges are crimes against humanity. More specifically, a violation of the 14th Amendment as it speaks to equal protection under the law. Are both defense and prosecution ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
But I don't have my best clothes. That walking man robbed me.
We'll now have opening statements from the prosecution.
Your Honor, may it please the court.
Yes, proceed.
My name is Denisha Jones, and I represent the plaintiffs in this case. We are here today to see these defendants found guilty for violating the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of every student, teacher, and family who attends or works in our public schools. Public education, thank you.
Please hold your outbursts to an appropriate time. It's what I say you can.
I apologize, Your Honor. My supporters here are a little reckless, but I will calm them down. Public education has been a sacred cornerstone in our democracy since its inception. The goal of propelling the human race forward can only be accomplished through a free and appropriate public education system for all children. Our vision of public education has been distorted by those who seek to privatize public schools into profit-making ventures for the corporations. Yeah. These vicious acts of privatization have wreaked havoc on our public education system by turning our parents into consumers, our students into products, and our teachers into robots. In addition to violating the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, these heinous acts of privatization have a disparate impact on children of color, so we are additionally seeking a hate crimes charge. Now, the defendants will argue that they are only doing what is best to help children stuck in failing government schools, but we will prove that not only do these profiteers not have the best interest of our children at heart, but that they are also conspired to create the failing schools in an effort to further their privatization scheme.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We will prove through witness testimonies how the defendants used their positions of power to malign public school teachers and their unions in an effort to make the public turn against our most noble public servants. We will show how parents and students have been tricked into believing that charter schools outperform public schools and are the solution to the man-made education crisis. We will show how the testing theocracy created by the defendants has turned public school into test prep factories while siphoning $4 billion a year of our tax money. We destroy the teaching profession by turning teaching into a 2-year temporary position for those aspiring to become edu-entrepreneurs. The creation of institute who have very little preparation and no understanding of the art or science of teaching, who are then unleashed on our children who need the most and deserve the best, is a shocking attack on every child's right under the law. We will prove this privatization scheme is widespread and far-reaching, and without immediate action from this court, will destroy our country. Thank you.
Ms. Ritchie, are you ready with your opening statements for the defense?
Thank you, Your Honor, if it would please the court.
Proceed.
Go get him.
My name is Becca Ritchie, and I represent the defendants in this case. We will prove that first, there is no conspiracy to privatize public education. The defendants are tireless advocates for much-needed change to fix our broken public schools. Contrary to what the prosecution will have you believe, we did not create failing schools. We are business people and entrepreneurs, and we are not ashamed of that. We have used our belief in free market capitalism to help public education harness the power of the market to best serve our customers. Oh, I mean students. We are not in this for the money. We are in this because we don't believe any child should be destined to a failing public school. The defendants are in this business of improving schools, and if they can make a modest profit while turning education into an efficient system that prepares our students for college and careers, then what is the harm? After all, we are not communists. The defendants will prove that these charges are nothing more than complaints of bitter educators who would rather watch children waller in broken public schools than admit that they have a better solution for the right price. The prosecution is right. The prosecution is right that education is sacred in our country, and the ability to remain the world's largest superpower depends on it. We will not be able to compete with China if we have generations of children who care more about reading Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter than learning how to follow orders from their corporate masters, bosses. We need to welcome the power of businesses to create a world-class education system that values STEM, rigor, standardized testing, and accountability. We ask that the court dismiss this case with prejudice so these concerned citizens can continue their important work of improving educational bottom lines, outcomes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, are you ready with the prosecution case?
Yes,
If you are, please call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the first witness, I call Celeste Smith. Power to the people. Right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you all the children in America?
Yes, I do.
Hello. Will you please state your name for the record?
My name is Celeste Smith.
Can everyone hear?
My name is Celeste Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And will you tell the court what type of work you do?
I am a language arts teacher in Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
I love teachers.
I'm also the designated building steward for my union, United Teachers of Dade. And I'm also the co-founder and administrator for United Lockdown National and a steering committee member of Save Our Schools.
National Organizer for Education, you know we're here today because we believe the actions of the defendants have violated the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause. Can you tell us how you've been directly affected by the privatization scheme focused on public education?
Well, first and foremost, they're trying to starve teachers out of their home. We have teachers that are eligible for welfare benefits at this point because they have taken money away from teachers' salaries and given it to people that have charter schools during the day and strip clubs by night. Yeah. They've also not only starved the teachers, they've ruined the brains of our young people. They believe in benchmark testing. They believe in driving education via standards and benchmarks. They could care little about taking the young brain and building information, laying foundation and skills. At appropriate times for their development physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. They have taken a lot of our little children and turned them into drug addicts already. Unfortunately, we have these poor kids that are on these horrible psychotropic drugs. They can't sit in school unless they're zombies. If they talk and animate and act like little boys and girls should with their physical movement throughout the day, which they should be allowed to move about physically and socialize physically and learn through socialization, well, they turn them into little drug addicts that just stare into space. Their parents are concerned, so are we teachers. So I've seen poor children turn into drug addicts that end up, a lot of times, going into the movie theaters and shooting and killing people. A lot of times, going out here in their communities, killing themselves as well. It's just sad.
It is very sad, Ms. Smith. And why do you think these privatization attacks have created so much damage? I mean, the defendants are going to tell you that they're doing what's right to make our schools better, but you see the damage is done. Why do you think their way leads to damage to public education?
Their way is concerned about making money and money only. They could care less the collateral damage. They could care less that people suffer. They could care less that they're redistributing wealth. They could care less that they're destroying brains. They could care less. It's all about who can pocket the money, and they buy the politicians. The politicians make the laws for them, the corporate investors, and it's basically greed.
Greed. Thank you. Last question, Ms. Smith. What do you think that we really need to fix our education system?
To get the corporate money out, to get the greedy folks out, to stop them from setting policy, buying politicians, to stop them from sucking the blood out of America and Americans' children. They're vampires. They're literally vampires, and they're bloodsuckers. And I'm telling you, if they don't stop, these poor little kids, be generations lost. We've already, I think the millennials are already compromised. I think they're compromised in more ways than one. Poor things have to still live with their parents. I mean, I just got rid of one of mine. He'll probably be back.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. No more questions,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Hello there.
Are you a public teacher or not?
Yes, I am.
And as such, you work for the state of Florida, correct?
Yes, I do.
And are you aware that the state of Florida currently spends $19.6 billion a year on education?
They spend $19.6 billion, but unfortunately, the charter schools get a lot of it. Academia, the private managed charters get a lot of that money. They even give them money to build schools, to fix schools. They're giving them money to have strip clubs. Like I said before, they had a strip club. They had kids watching movies during the day, and then they had women taking their clothes off at night.
And
But they're giving
you
them
aware-
and the vouchers. They're giving, we have a separation as church and state, from what I understand from our federal constitution.
so I'm going to redirect you on the question. So,
Well, you need to know that
and
they're
are
taking
you
and giving
aware
that
that
money to schools that are not
33%
separating church and state.
are you aware that 33% of the children are below basic in math and 46% are below in reading?
And they attend the
yes,
charter
no
school.
question, please, Ms.
They're in the
Smith.
strip club charter school.
Based on the FCAT results from last year, because the ones this year won't be back, as a teacher, do you refuse to take any responsibility for these abysmal statistics?
As I said before, those kids are in the strip club charter schools, and they're in the racially segregated charter schools and the charter schools that are Catholic. And they're not in the regular community schools. The kids in the regular community schools do well in their academic subjects. The test itself, we can talk about that too, that's problematic. The test asks very stupid questions.
So I need you to refocus onto the question. The state of Florida pays you and all the other teachers millions of dollars a year, and you can't teach them to pass the test?
Well, here's what I teach them. I teach them to prepare for life, and to those that are going to I teach them to be able to function in terms of reading and writing in college. And my students always come back and say, Miss Smith, you made college a piece of cake.
So, and I have one more question for you, Miss Smith. Why do you hate these hardworking, successful Americans so much?
They're bloodsuckers and vampires.
Order. I realize this is emotional and high stakes, but we want to have some decorum. I'm trying to be patient, so some
They also
outbursts
send
is
kids to
acceptable.
prisons for no reason.
The witness may be excused.
Because they have invested in privatized prisons, so
The witness may be
prison
excused.
with no, the kids have done nothing, but they go to prison anyway.
Please strike those last comments from the record. Ms. Jones, call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Rosalie Friend to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so all the children in America help you?
So help me children, I do.
Hello, can you please state your name for the record?
Rosalie Friend.
Use the mic.
Yeah. Yes.
Rosalie Friend.
Thank you, Ms. Friend. And where do you live?
In Brooklyn, New York.
New York, thank you. And can you tell us a little bit about how you became a local organizer for education in Brooklyn, New York?
Well, I went to public school myself. My parents did too, and my daughter did. And I was a teacher myself and taught teachers and have been involved in my community. And as I saw more and more people concerned about the problems that are coming about these so-called reforms, especially since No Child Left Behind, and using inappropriate tests, and the reluctance to invest in the services that school children need, I needed to get up and do something, whatever I could.
Thank you. And as someone who's been involved in the fight to save our schools, who do you think is responsible for these attacks on public education?
You see before you four individuals who are doing their best, or their worst, I should say, but there's a whole range. You can blame Milton Friedman's ideology. You can blame a large part of the public that's apathetic, and a significant part that would rather not spend tax dollars to give public services, who are not concerned about the larger community. And these individuals take advantage of that lassitude and mild
Objection, Your Honor. My clients do not take advantage of the public.
Yeah, you do.
Your Honor, the witness should be allowed to speak to her personal experience.
The objection is overruled.
Please continue, Ms. Friend.
I have seen with my own eyes the influence of big money in the media, including the New York Times had an education reporter who wrote about the public testing. He wrote this is Michael Winter. He wrote a very striking article about now we know how to measure what kids learn, telling about the standardized tests in New York State and how under Mayor Bloomberg the children's scores were rising and rising and rising, showing he's a good mayor, right? Until they finally had to acknowledge that the scores were due to the fact that the tests were being made easier every year. And he said, sure, we have tests that show, they aren't accurate, they aren't telling what's happening.
So you have
This gentleman lost his job as education columnist.
for exposing the truth. Thank you.
Yes.
So can you tell this court what is at stake if we allow these profiteers to go unpunished here today?
Unfortunately, a lot of children are losing the opportunity to learn to use their minds. to learn to think for themselves. Under these so-called reforms, which we sometimes call deforms, children are being taught to answer superficial questions and being taught in a way that all the children come to the same answer.
Yeah.
Now you know that the important questions in our world do not have one single answer. And if we do not teach all the children to think things, to ask questions, not to answer superficial questions, but to ask probing questions, ultimately, we are endangering our democracy. On the small scale, as Ms. Smith said, on the small scale, children's lives are being cramped. As a local organizer, I hear parents whose children no longer want to go to school, children who are getting sick to their stomach, children who are acting out. I hear teachers close to tears because they're not being allowed to, they don't have the time or resources. When you have troubled children, they need someone who can reach out and work with them and understand them and show them how to work their way back into being part of our society, being part of the group.
That is very true, Ms. Friend. Last question for you. What do you believe we need to improve our education system?
Well, we have a lot of research by educators that indicate how children can learn. We need to return to the philosophy of John Dewey, of the cognitive psychologists, of the whole language movement, that teach children to investigate, to inquire, to think for themselves. We need to provide enough social services. As long as we have inequality in income and opportunity, I've seen this many times in New York City, the contrast between a parent who is a college professor and is helping the child do the homework, and the child whose parents are both working 2 jobs, and although they tell the child that learning is important, are not available to help. The children who are living in places, I can't tell you how many of our kids have been exposed to violence on the streets, both being threatened themselves. In one school, I had student teachers, and they were saying all the kids who've been sexually abused sort of hang around together during recess.
That's a very, very sad story. Thank you very much, Ms. Friend. No more questions for this witness.
Before Ms. Ritchie begins your cross, I'm going to ask the councilors to approach the bench, please.
Yes, sir.
Step back. You may begin your cross.
Hello, Ms. Frank. Is it true that veteran educators such as yourself are actually the ones that are destroying public education?
No.
But isn't it true that in New York you have personally attended rallies and urged the mayor to turn his back on charter schools that have done the best to help poor children in New York City?
The mayor is my neighbor. It has been my neighbor in Brooklyn
Is it
for years. He doesn't listen to
A yes
me.
or no would suffice.
I have to say that, but he does not listen to me. I have spoken to him many times over the years.
A yes or no would suffice, please.
Will the witness please answer yes or no?
Yes, I have attended rallies.
Thank you. And isn't it true that you are a paid lobbyist for the Socialist Union Party that wants to turn public schools into liberal indoctrination camps? Yes or no? Yes or no, Ms.
Ms.
Friend?
Ritchie, that is libel, and I will
Yes or no,
not, if you do not withdraw the name calling,
Yes
I will
or no,
have
please.
my counsel
Your Honor?
see you in the morning.
Will the witness please Order, please. Would the witness please answer yes or no?
Ms. Ritchie, you may not
Your Honor?
call me scurrilous names, and I will have my attorney see you in the morning.
Ms. Flynn, are you going to answer yes or no?
That's the witness. Objection.
Can't object to the judge.
Your Honor, surely accusing me of things like this is improper. But no, I did not receive any compensation for my organizing and activism. No, I have never been a member of any socialist group.
Isn't it true that you go on the radio and make libelous statements and slander the good names of these defendants in the room because they refuse to give to your socialist demands? Yes or no?
Viva Revolution!
Yes or no, Ms. Friend?
McCarthyist tactics.
No.
No further questions for the witness.
The witness is excused. Ms. Jones, shame, Ms. Ritchie. Long last, have you no shame?
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize for the outburst of the courtroom here. I call Larry Prophet to the stand.
May we please have order?
I swear to speak truth to power, so help our children, because it's all that's going to help them.
Hey, Arnie, I got a quarter for you later. You can call somebody cares.
Hello. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Larry Prophet.
Thank you, Mr. Prophet. And please tell the court where you live and what you do for a living.
I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I am a middle school science teacher.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Prophet, can you explain to the court about these attacks on teacher tenure, led by defendant Campbell Brown, have done to teachers across the country like yourself and your colleagues?
Tenure is the most misunderstood thing that's been reported in the nation. And that's all Ms. Brown knows to do. Spread propaganda and lies about something that's actually due process that teachers need because their protections are being eroded away by these court cases that have come about because of her screams from the tops of pews that no one wants to listen to.
Thank you. And in your opinion, is teacher tenure really causing the failings of public schools? Is it the biggest concern we have right now?
Number one, public schools are not failing. That's also another false interpretation from the media. Tenure has nothing to do with that. Tenure is very simply due process that allows teachers to have a process if they've been accused of something. It does not protect people for life in the public school system. It simply is something that's being used as a propaganda item.
Objection, Your Honor. It is not being used as propaganda. Could you redirect that comment?
Sure is. Your Honor, tenure is not a job for
Your
life.
Honor, I asked him for his opinion, and he's a veteran teacher.
Tenure is not a job for life in the public school system, so it is propaganda when you don't speak the truth. Thank you.
Let me rule on the objection.
I apologize.
The objection is overruled.
There you go.
Thank you. Last question, Mr. Prophet. What do you believe as a veteran teacher is needed to improve? I won't say fix, because like you said, our schools aren't failing, but there's always room for improvement. What do you think we need to improve our schools?
You need to fully fund the public schools. Dr. King pointed it out many years ago that there can be nothing wrong with a system that's never been fully funded except for the lack of funding. Our government is what's failing, not our schools.
Ms. Ritchie, come on.
So, you just stated that the government is failing our public schools. Am I correct? Yes or no, sir?
Yes, you can see.
Thank you. So the government is responsible, correct?
The government.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, but
yes or no?
Your Honor, I need to be able to explain that.
No,
because I am
you don't.
the educator, and she's only an attorney.
Yes or no? The question's a yes or no answer.
The government government is responsible for having quality public schools, and we have quality public schools even though they're underfunded by the government that does fail them.
Okay, great. So what you're saying is that the government is underfunding, the government is responsible. Are the 4 witnesses that are up here government employees? Yes or no, sir?
The 4
yes or no, sir?
You know,
keep your answer brief. But
I'll keep it brief, but you know, children in my class that act like that. Children in my class do not act like that to start with. They have better role models. Yes, one is a government employee, and he's the one that's crying the most over here, and the other's by government employees and politicians.
Do you think that teachers deserve a job for life? Yes or no?
Teachers deserve a right to a quality profession for as long as they can teach quality education.
But isn't it true that the unions are the reasons the teachers can't be fired?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, may I ask her to specify what she means by that?
please specify.
The teachers are protecting bad, or the unions are protecting bad teachers, and they can't be fired.
May I ask her what she means by bad teachers?
You want to give us a definition of a bad teacher?
So a teacher that would, a bad teacher would be one who would be a sexual predator or a pedophile. Somebody who refuses to...
Like Michelle Reed's husband. Is that what you're talking about? She's friends with these guys. Okay, the union does not protect bad teachers. And until you fully fund our schools and you give proper professional development, I defy you to show me a bad teacher. Yeah. You're supposed to train teachers and work with teachers, not set them up for failure with a racist tool like testing. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm done with this.
The witness may be excused.
Thank you.
The witness is done. Mr. Jones, please call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Marlon Gilboy to the stand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see
threw
that.
something at her.
I heard
It could have been a bomb.
Oh, okay.
Oh, another teacher. Great.
Not that one. That was one of those bats.
Hey, can move forward? Can the experts?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so far for all the children of America? So help me for all of the children of America.
You preach it, Marla.
Hello. Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Marla Kilswell.
Thank you, Ms. Kilswell. And since you are here on behalf of parents, can you please tell us a little bit about your family who couldn't be here today?
Absolutely. I am the very, very proud mother of a 12-year-old little boy who was adopted from Russia and who came to us at 9 months old and who also has some significant cognitive delays and is a student with disabilities.
Thank you. And can you tell the court, as a parent, can you tell the court the impact standardized testing has had on your family?
Standardized testing has pigeonholed my son, who is not standard, into a single number. And as we know, our children are not standard. Our children are all unique. They all come from different backgrounds with different experiences and different abilities. And so standardized testing has, in a nutshell, ruined my son's educational experience.
Thank you. Well, can you tell the court what you believe is the real goal of high-stakes standardized testing? What do these people want with high-stakes standardized testing?
I think it basically, in a nutshell, what standardized testing is being used to do, it is first and foremost used as a tool to assault our urban communities. It is being used as a tool to close our schools. It is being used as a tool to punish our children, our communities, and to privatize public education, and to get rid of sustainable community schools that our children are entitled to.
Thank you. And what do you think is a better alternative to standardized testing?
A better alternative to standardized testing. I think that all children deserve a school that measures what they're capable of doing, what they come into school with, what their growth model is, and where they came in and where we want them to go. So I really feel that a great thing that we need to do is we need to visit the idea of a sustainable community school model, and we need to bring our educators to the table, we need to bring our parents to the table, and we need to bring our children to the table, and let our communities decide where they want to move our children.
Thank you. And I think that speaks to our last question, which is, how would you improve our public school system?
I think that we need to support, we need to promote, and we need to fight with every last breath that we have to have amazing, sustainable schools, community schools for children.
Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Richards?
Well, you state you're a public school teacher.
Yep,
but
29 years.
But isn't it true that you're also the manager of the Badass Teachers Association?
No, I need to rephrase that, please. I am the immensely proud manager of the Badass.
So thank you for not denying that truth. Isn't it true that the Badass Teachers Association was formed to destroy the Common Core standards that were designed to help children prepare for debt and low-wage work? I mean, college and careers.
The Badass Teachers Association was formed to give a voice to teachers who are amazing advocates for their children. It was designed to give voice to parents in communities that are under assault. It was designed to create a platform in which we will defeat the rhetoric of corporate education reform.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
Councilors? With the sign that's behind the witness stand, please, I'll allow you to keep it in the courtroom, but just do not put it behind. We don't want to intimidate witnesses. Please continue.
Thank you. Isn't it true that BATS was founded by a man known to have ties to terrorist organizations? Un-American.
I'm sorry, I can't answer that question because it's currently
And they steal clothes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Councilors?
No, just citing Steve.
Oh, no.
Oh, both. Okay.
That will be in part two.
This is supposed to be an American courtroom.
Yeah, she made that.
You know they steal clothes.
All right, great.
Not a far just saying.
I want my clothes back.
So,
Ms. Jones.
Ms. Guilfoyle, is this one of the BATS logo? Yes, it is. And isn't this proof that BATS is nothing more than a communist wing to the teachers' union?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness.
All right, the witness may be excused. Mr. Jones, I believe we have one final witness. Is that correct, Ms. Jones?
Yes,
Yes, y'all. Please call your final witness.
thank you. For our next witness, I'm calling Maureen Flanagan to the stand, Your Honor.
This is
Your
child
Honor, I
abuse.
object.
Ms. Ritchie, what is your objection?
The age of this witness, and do we have parental permission for
Your
all
Honor,
this?
if I may, her father's in the audience, and he provided her permission to speak today.
Before you swear in, what's the witness's name?
Why are we caring about what kids think?
How old are you?
11.
Is this your father?
Yes.
Are you her father? Yes. Your father?
You sure?
You give your permission?
Yes, I do.
She may be sworn in.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, now we're listening to children? Where's communist teachers, not children?
Hello, can you please state your name for the record?
Maureen Flanagan.
Thank you. And where do you attend school, Maureen?
PUCD1, New York City.
Thank you. And before going to school, have you had any experience with Teach for America?
Yes.
Can you tell the court about your experience?
They came and they pretended like they cared. But a few years after that, they just got up and left. They didn't really, and they were a bit fumbly with their teaching skills.
Your Honor, can you please tell the defendant to leave the witness alone while she's testifying?
The witnesses will refrain from intimidating the witness.
Thank you.
They were a bit fumbly with their teaching experience, and I believe they destroyed my learning one.
Thank you. And so the defense has argued that given the shortage of teachers, we need new ways of recruiting teachers. What would you say to that?
I would like to bring up my favorite teacher, one of the best teachers I've ever had, Mr. Crawford. He was in a school environment that he enjoyed and a school environment that he loved. But he had to go to a private school because he couldn't handle the state testing, and we lost one of the best teachers our school has had. We don't need to find new teachers, we need to keep the good ones we have. Yes, Success Academy.
Can you tell the court about your experience with Success Academy Charter School?
Test, test, test. And if you did bad, they'd kick you out.
That sounds like a
Do
good
you
plan.
think your experience was typical of the majority of charter schools in your area?
Yes, I do. My friends have said the same.
If your experience is typical, why do you think charter schools are continually touted as being better than public schools?
Because they are.
It's all about making money. And it's not about the actual experience you have in a school.
Last question, Ms. Lanigan. What do you believe we need to improve our education system?
More recess?
Make them cry.
Maureen for president.
Ms. Ritchie, please continue with begin your cross.
Hello, Ms. Flanagan. Isn't it true that the only reason you're here today is because these people promised if you spoke on their behalf, you would never have to take another test?
Yes.
No, it is not true.
Isn't it true that you're here today because you think school is too hard and you would prefer to be taught easy stuff like creativity and critical thinking that have zero value in a world run by corporate oligarchs? I mean, the real world.
Yeah.
I'm an honor student. I'm at the top of my class, and I'm only here for my friends and my teachers.
Why should we believe anything from a child who can't pass a simple test?
I have gotten all 4s in my test, the highest grade one can get, but I am opting out this year because I am more than my score.
I'm trying to be lenient because I understand this is emotionally charged, but we still have to have some kind of decorum here. In order for us to get through this, we have time constraints as well. So.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm done with this. Silence, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, do you have any further witnesses?
Your Honor, the prosecution will rest.
All right. Ms. Ritchie, are you ready to put on the defense case?
Yes, I am.
Please begin. This witness is excused.
I would like to call Eli Grove to the witness stand.
Have some respect, please.
Order in the court.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for our children?
No way.
Yes.
Hello, can you state your name for the record?
Eli Broad.
Thank you. And so, Mr. Broad, can you tell the court what the Eli and Edith Broad's Foundation's mission is?
Well, our mission is to ensure that every urban student in an urban school achieves urban success.
And how do you enact that mission?
I make it rain. I mean, well, I've had some strategic investments to the tune of $600 million. You know what I'm saying?
So, you have heard the prosecution accuse you and your co-defendants of scheming to privatize public education. What do you think of those accusations?
Nah. Really, we need new leaderships. Obviously, these people have been failing for years. Something has to be done. I just was able to be the person to make that investment. You know, parents need options like charters, and you know, no one cared about these schools anyway. I was the one who's been able to get it done.
And why should this court believe that your ultimate mission is to help children in urban schools succeed?
I put my money where my mouth is. Really. I mean, no one has invested as much as me. I mean, I give $1 million to each, you know, urban school districts, you know, that I like. So, yeah, I mean, everybody knows that. You know, it's the very famous idiom, put your money where your mouth is.
So, last question, what do you say to those who claim that you are making profits at the expense of children?
Well, it's profits, no one is profiting off of these kids. I mean, we get a return in our investment, but we're not profiting off of it.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Jones, Ross?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Brown, you state that we continually spend more money on public schools, but students still don't have the resources they need. How much money is spent on the salaries of the board superintendents that your organizations produce?
Well, it's very complicated. Somewhere around under that whole $600 million or so that I spent. So
school districts have to spend money to hire the superintendents that come out of your academy. Don't you think that money is best spent on resources for low-income children?
Well, the resources is the leadership. I mean, we obviously know the best. I mean, we're corporate people, we're successful, we make money, we know what we're talking about. So we're recruiting different people who have success in business.
So you justify spending six-figure salaries on superintendents while kids in their district go hungry?
You want to recruit, like...
Kids in their district don't have a nurse.
It's not about me. I'm talking about superintendents. Nurses don't have it.
I didn't even make your point. Can you tell the court, what urban school did you attend as a child?
I didn't, but I visited all of them. What
urban school did your children go to?
My children need safety, and I didn't put them in urban schools.
So you never went to an urban school, and your children don't go to an urban school?
I visited enough.
So why do you think you know what is best for urban communities when you have no personal experience as a student or parent within these communities?
They obviously don't have the control of their schools. I obviously know a little bit more about leadership.
So you think you know best for people living their own life? You get to tell people because you have the money what they need and what's best for them?
It's experience, it's knowledge, it's connections. I mean...
But you don't have any experience in urban schools.
I have experience in leadership.
Leadership. Very interesting.
Yeah. And business.
What is your thoughts on charter schools? Do you think charter schools should replace all public schools?
Charter schools are another area in which I invest. And we also reward good charter schools to the tune of $250 million or so.
Is that your return on investment that you get from charter schools? Isn't it true that you invest in charter schools so you can get that money and that's why you want them to take over our public schools?
Well, I mean, they obviously do better. What's the problem? Parents are asking for them.
What do you mean better?
Mr. Brown?
They do better. If kids can pass the test, it's proof.
The research shows charter schools do not outperform public schools. Did you read that study by Linda Bellingham and others?
I've read plenty of this propaganda, and I don't agree.
I mean, we don't agree with you trying to take over our
charters are the best.
No further questions, Your Honor.
That's very rude. Charters are the best way to gender reform.
The witness may be excused.
See, this is a kangaroo court.
No more outbursts, I'm gonna hold her in contempt. Hold him in contempt.
You want me to take you off?
I need a job.
Miss Mitchell, call your next witness.
If it pleases the court, I will call Arnie Duncan.
Secretary Douglas, will you take the stand?
This is a great man. Have respect.
Oh, it's all the money.
Don't mess this up, bro.
The left hand on.
The one that makes the L.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right
Raise
hand.
your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Oh.
Your children.
I always tell the truth. Oh.
Take the seat.
The nose is getting longer.
Hello, can you state your name for the record, please?
I am the Secretary of Education, Arnold Duncan.
And
Also a former semi-pro basketball player.
And can you tell the court what that job entails?
You do know these are not my real clothes. But that job entails visiting schools, inspiring young people, lifting teachers up, giving parents choices.
And as the Secretary of Education, do you believe that there is a privatization scheme against public education?
No!
And why do you think charter schools and programs like TFA have been so successful?
They bring competition. You know, like, I guess we could be those wishy-washy people that were up here before, but what we need is competition. We want what's best. We want choice for parents. We need schools to compete against each other.
And what does your office see as the major concern facing public education today?
I have to be honest with you. Although I love teachers, and I do, and I love children, and I do, and I love public schools, I really do. But if you look at the scores of what, the tests are proving that we need to bring competition to our schools. You know, it's the only way to hold them accountable. And you know what? The wishy-washy people have never been held accountable. And I wish you would have asked all those teachers that came up here, are they tenured?
And based on your expertise as the Secretary of Education, how is the best way to alleviate these concerns? What are the best ways?
Well,
The concerns that are
Sure.
facing public education.
sure. Well, first thing we need to do, I mean, let's be honest. We have many schools in this nation that are failing our children. And you know what? We need to close the lowest performing schools. We need to do it. It's for their own good.
Okay.
Eli agrees with me.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Jones, cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Secretary Duncan, have a seat.
Witness will please remain seated.
We need to do a fist bump. That's what makes it official.
Secretary Duncan, isn't it true that after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans and parts of Mississippi, you said that Hurricane Katrina was the best thing to happen to New Orleans public schools. Yes or no? Your Honor, will you please instruct the witness to answer the question?
Please answer yes or no, and then I will allow you to expand on that.
Please know that your comments are recorded, and we can pull it up right now on my iPad if you need to help me jog your memory.
The witness will answer the question.
Don't screw this up.
Every once in a while, people make a slip of the tongue.
Oh, a slip of the tongue. So you didn't mean to imply that a hurricane that left thousands of residents homeless and displaced from their communities would be a good thing?
What displaced? They went to Houston.
Isn't it true that after the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, that there was used to fire more than 50% of black teachers in New Orleans? Right.
I love teachers. I love black teachers. I love Latin teachers. I love women teachers. I love men teachers. If you're a teacher, I love you.
Thank you. Were you a teacher yourself? Or how long were you a teacher?
You know that I played semi-pro basketball.
Order, the witness will answer the question.
Have you ever been a teacher? Let me rephrase. Have you ever been a public school teacher? Yes or no?
I was the chief financial officer of the Chicago public school system.
Is that a teaching position? Did you teach little children? Thank you. Your silence is answer enough, Secretary Duncan. So, just to be clear though, you never worked as an educator, but yet you were selected to be Secretary of Education. Next question.
That was my business experience.
Oh, business experience. Thank you for clarifying.
Business makes it right.
Do your children attend public school, Secretary Duncan?
Oh, God, don't answer that.
I know when they go back to Chicago, they won't.
Oh, they won't. So do the schools they attend, do they use the Common Core state standards?
It's a trap.
You're talking about my children?
Yes, I'm asking you if your children go to schools where the Common Core state standards that your office has championed and pushed down the throats of every teacher and student in this country, do your children have to learn the standards?
Objection. No, we don't have to. We can be honest here. My children are not common.
How many standardized testing a year do your children take in their school?
I refuse to answer on the ground that it may incriminate me. I plead the fifth.
Thank you. Your answer said a lot. Last question, Mr. Duncan. Do you believe that all children deserve the education your children receive? Yes or no?
Yes, and that's why we want choice to schools. That's why we have charters. That's why we had BAM to get rid of all the low-performing teachers, charters to get rid of the low-performing schools.
But your children don't attend schools where there's standardized testing and Common Core. That's what everybody else's kids are getting.
That doesn't mean I don't love everybody else's children. I told you I love children, I love teachers, I love parents. I love.
Secretary, keep your love to yourself.
Order in the court, the witness may be excused.
I love parents, I love teachers, and I love students. And I love elaborate.
Secretary Duncan, please have a seat.
Your Honor, I'd like to call Rahm Emanuel.
Chicago's in the house, baby.
Ms. Mitchell, please restrain the flags.
I'm trying.
I'll do my best.
Well, I'm sorry, what was that? I missed that. I'm sorry. Whoops.
Will you repeat your...
I'm going to remind the judge and everybody else that I know Obama, so...
Hello, can you state your name for the record, please?
Ron, the real deal, Emmanuel.
And can you tell the court what you do?
Such a loaded question. What does anybody really do?
For employment.
Oh, I'm the mayor. Of Chicago.
Thank you, Mayor Rahm Emanuel.
And I know Obama.
And can you tell the court what your vision of a successful Chicago public school is?
I dream about it all the time, actually. Getting rid of the unions. A lot of people don't realize due process costs a lot of money. And there's no real need for it. I would never single out a teacher. Like my good friend Arnie Duncan said, I too love teachers. I just don't trust them. So how would I create a successful Chicago public schools besides getting rid of the unions, paying the teachers less money?
Take away the...
I'm not really sure if I can use the word success. I can make them separate but equal. Perhaps that'll work. I'm a big civil rights person. I don't know if you do that. And I know Obama. Yes, thank you. The audience is keeping along. I was worried. Too many teachers in the room.
And what, in your opinion, is preventing Chicago from having successful public schools?
Besides the union, you mean? Right?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Besides the union and the low-performing kids, it's really hard to narrow down. I mean, we need charter schools. I would never send my own kids there, but I'm saying we need them for the poor people. There's rich people and then there's poor people. I'm rich and I know Obama, so my kids go to a good school. Everybody else's kids will do the best we can with what we have. And if you live in a poor neighborhood, life sucks for you, and I'm sorry. Maybe you just need more grit, more rigor in your life.
Is there a... I've heard this. Is there a conspiracy in Chicago to privatize the public schools?
No. I mean, what does that even mean?
You know,
conspiracy? You're just throwing big words at me now. I'm not even sure what you're asking me. Please define.
Is there a group of people who are trying to privatize the public schools?
Privatize? I mean, we're all private citizens. What's wrong with private? We all have privacy in our lives. I mean, it's a word we all use. I don't see what the big deal is here. Next question, please.
So, why is it that you feel so strongly about getting rid of the union? Last question.
I mean, there's so many reasons, besides the fact that they protect pedophiles and other idiots. You gotta think about it. Teachers come from the absolute bottom of the barrel. We are trying to recruit really actually educated people, okay?
GFA! One more outburst, and I'll have you removed from this court.
Your Honor, I would remind you again that we both know Obama. Sir.
And no further
questions. No, I want to finish answering that. What was the question?
Why are you so adverse to the union?
Okay, so besides what I already said, they also require that we pay teachers like decent salaries and benefits and all those things, whereas if I just make the entire city into one big charter district, no benefits, low pay, I save the city money and everybody loves me.
No further questions.
Mrs. Jones?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mayor Rahm Emanuel, do you condone the school board preventing parents like Rosemary Vega from addressing their concerns regarding school closures and denial of services to Chicago parents and students?
It's wild.
I would answer that question with a question of my own. And the question I would ask you is, what possible complaints did she have?
Ms. Vega has lots of complaints. She's gone to the school board numerous times. School closure. Here's another question for you. How do you think your policies on closing schools, turning them into for-profit charters, which enforces children across dangerous territory to get to a new school, how do you think that's improving their lives? That's something Ms. Vega can say about.
Your insinuation that there are dangerous neighborhoods in my city is false. That's number one. Very safe city, low crime rate, and excellent schools. especially the charter schools.
Yeah, I think the news media question your homicide statistics there.
They're owned by the same communists who are here in attendance. A bunch of socialist communists.
Next question. How do you justify the position that Chicago Board of Education is taking in their refusal to come to the table with Chicago public school teachers to work together in building strong public education support systems?
Listen, I was elected, and there's a reason I was elected, because I'm smarter. I'm better.
Can you answer the question?
I don't even remember what it was.
Chicago School Board negotiating with the teachers. Do you condone the refusal of the school board to negotiate with the teachers?
Yes. We need to get rid of the unions. That's how we're going to have a quality education for poor people.
To get rid of the unions?
Yes.
And how does that bring about quality education for poor people?
You know, I use that word loosely. It's the polls show that's a word I should be using more often, so I just threw it out there.
Oh, you just threw it out there.
Nobody would actually notice.
You need more profit for your co-defendant.
You know, one of your witnesses has his name Prophet. Nobody challenged him. I don't see why I'm being singled out here.
I apologize for singling you out. Last question, Mayor. Last question, Mayor Ron Emanuel. How do you plan on improving Chicago public schools when the majority of teachers have rebuked your education plan by participating in a 7-day strike a couple years ago?
I don't recall that strike, but if the teachers were to go on strike, it would be totally on them. They obviously don't care about the kids. They obviously don't care about teaching.
But how do you plan to work with these teachers so that to avert another strike?
Well, they shouldn't be striking. I'm trying to answer your question.
So you're not going to work with them?
Why would I work with criminals?
You're the mayor. They're the teachers.
Yeah, but that's just a title.
Oh, and you know Obama. Thank you.
Yes, I do know Obama.
Let's put this right next to
Thank you.
Judas. Ms. Ritchie, call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, I call Campbell Brown.
The lovely Campbell Brown.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Do us proud,
Nothing but the truth. So it helps you.
She doesn't know what the truth
Children of
is.
this country will help you.
All 74 million of them.
Hello, please state your name for the record. And can you tell the court what you do?
Yes, hello, my name is Campbell Brown. I am the founding organizer of a group called The 74. It's an organization that leads fact-based conversations around the atrocities that are happening to America's children at the hands of bad teachers. Prior to that, I was an award-winning CNN journalist, also on NBC, published in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Slate, and a board member of the Success Academy Charter School, and the proud mother of 2 young children.
And can you explain to us why teacher tenure is destroying public schools?
Absolutely. In my award-winning journalist experience, which is beyond reproach, I believe that tenure protects teachers from being accountable, even if they are sexual predators, racist, biased, or just plain bad. Who is protecting the children from them?
And what would public schools be like if bad teachers were not given jobs for life?
Well, they would be subject to the same performance evaluations that employees in the private sector would be. Our children are the collateral damage of protecting them when in the private sector, as our esteemed billionaires noted, in the real world, people get fired for doing a bad job and they get rewarded for doing a good job. Why are teachers hiding from the same accountability?
That's right.
And do you believe there's some kind of conspiracy to privatize public schools?
The conspiracy is being led by those white soccer moms who are opting their children out, like Miss Guilfoyle out there, who are undercutting the educational rights for poor and minority children by keeping the status quo and using poor black and brown children to opt their own white children out because they can't handle the tests. That's the conspiracy.
And final question. In your opinion, what should be done to fix our failing public schools?
It is unfortunate that a growing swath of wealthy opt-out parents are ignoring the impact of their poor and minority neighbors one county over. It's appalling and predictable that teachers' unions are facilitating this injury, and it's intolerable that Congress would actually stoop to legislating this harm.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Jones?
Thank you, Your sister. Ms. Brown, please explain to us what your definition of teacher tenure is. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here.
What is my definition of teacher tenure?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Tenure is that a teacher has a job for life and seems to protect sexual predators and bad teachers and wastes billions of dollars keeping them in the system when they have no business being in the classroom.
And where do you base that knowledge from? How many years were you a teacher?
I am an award-winning journalist, if I need to remind you. I worked for CNN, NBC. I've published in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Slate.
Sorry, I'm trying to forget that background. So, you've never been a teacher. Do you know that tenure doesn't mean a teacher has a job for life?
I'd like to speak to the 100 cases that were brought for sexual misconduct, and only 26 of those teachers were fired. Those are the bloodsuckers sucking the life's blood out of our schools.
Okay. Let's see about that. Do you think a teacher should be fired for not acquiescing to the wishes of a parent who wants their child to receive special treatment?
Yes, absolutely. But what if what happens
Wait, I'm sorry. A teacher should be fired because a parent comes to me and says, I demand you give my child an A, and the teacher says no, and that parent should be able to get that teacher fired?
Who is protecting the children and the parents from the harm conducted by the teachers?
Who's protecting the teacher and their right to teach?
If they're good teachers, they don't need protection.
Oh, they don't need protection. Do you have protection at your job, Ms. Brown? Will you be fired because somebody complains about your journalistic award-winning abilities?
I would be fired if I did a bad job.
Do you believe that a principal should be able to fire a teacher for questioning the logic behind policies and programs that are known to be harmful to children?
Only if the policies that are protecting the teachers are the same things that are being harmful to children.
But if I know as a teacher that this test is harmful to the child and I say no, should my principal be able to fire me?
No, because those tests are in place. As several civil rights organizations stated, those civil rights organizations that stand with those communities in opposition to the opt-out are the ones that are demanding the accountability that teachers are hiding from. Who is going to be accountable for those children if we don't use those test scores?
What about the ethical responsibility that teachers have to the children in their classroom to first do no harm?
You mean the sexual predators?
No, I mean the teachers. Ms. Brown, last question. Why do you hate teachers so much?
I don't hate teachers. I just hate bad teaching that is keeping children in poverty, locked in a cycle of poverty, when innovation and free markets and charters are opening the doors for children everywhere, that the status quo is keeping them down and preventing them from actually innovating and trying new things and allowing our free market to innovate and actually open opportunities for these poor children.
Ms. Brown, are only doors being opened or to the bank vault for your defendants? Thank you.
Ms. Richard, do you have any additional witnesses?
I do not. The defense rests.
All right.
We love teachers.
We've heard the prosecution case and the defense case. We will now have closing arguments. We will begin with Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you can see, these defendants are guilty. They are conspiring to rip off America's school children, and they must be stopped, Your Honor. They are ripping off the taxpayers of this great country. They're making schools miserable for children, and they're doing it for no other goal than to line their pockets. And we ask that you find them guilty of the charges today.
Your Honor, as you can clearly see, this lawsuit, it is a sham. These defendants are upstanding pillars of their community who are invested in making sure America has the most profitable, the most successful school system in the world. They have dedicated their time and substantial wealth to help all children prepare to serve them, succeed in life. Tougher standards are good for all children. Testing that measures growth is good for all children. Schools that create innovative ways to maximize profits, achievements, are good for all children. And if you find these defendants guilty of this non-existent conspiracy, you are condemning all children in the world where art, physical education, music, and social studies are valued over learning to be good workers who are skilled at picking the one not so wrong answer out of a group of bad choices.
That's taking drones. Ms. Ritchie, you've mentioned that these defendants are pillars of the community. That did not come in during the course of the testimony, so I'm going to offer the prosecution an opportunity to rebut that.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is clear from the testimonies of our witnesses and from the mouths of these defendants themselves that they are conspiring to privatize public education. The research has shown that their so-called solutions do not improve learning, but are great at lining their already fat pockets. Given that education is a states' right issue, and these defendants are attacking public education in every state, we urge you to put a stop to the nightmare that public education has become, and find them guilty of violating the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
May I see counsel at the bench? Approach the bench. May I see counsel approach the bench?
We're only guilty of loving teachers
And children.
and parents.
The only things you worship are dollar signs.
And my yacht.
Oh, I'm a fun millionaire. You own a mansion and a yacht. And you know Obama. Right. Have we finished building the gallows yet?
Order. This is a highly charged case against these defendants. I want to ask you to please rise. After hearing testimony from the prosecution witnesses, from the defense witnesses, hearing all the evidence that has been presented, the arguments from both sides, I must say for the record I'm disgusted and repulsed by some of the testimony that I've heard here today, particularly from the defense witnesses. However, remaining impartial throughout this proceeding, I will continue to do so with my ruling. Both sides have presented some compelling arguments. However, I believe the most compelling evidence has come from the youthful witness of Ms. Flanagan. Because after all, she and her peers are what education is all about. So, as a part of my responsibilities, I have to gauge credibility. And I must say that the defense witnesses are devoid of credibility. They are borderline repugnant in my opinion, but anyway, the most compelling testimony that I believe was presented today was from Ms. Flanagan, and she has persuaded me to rule in favor of the prosecution, and I find the defendants guilty. Leave the defendants away. Take them to jail. I sentenced the defendants to 20 years hard labor. This court is now
Thank you, everybody. Come on back, please. Come on. All right, guys. Thank you so much for indulging us in our mock trial. I just want to say thank you to a few people who worked really hard to make this happen. Bob George right here for SOS. We Emily who helped us make sure we stayed on track. Walking Man Turner, who we are here recognizing, we came in and did the hard work.
We love teachers.
Maureen here who won the case for us by being the best teacher ever. And I know it wasn't easy for you guys to play the bad side. You did it so well. So thank you. Becca, you're the best defense attorney ever. It was really hard to clap. And to our judge, Thomas Berg. That airs every Thursday on WEF Radio. He's dedicated the fourth Thursday of every month to the bus show. Badass Teachers United Opt Out to Save Our School. We come together and we do that show. Some of you have been on it, Gus has been on it, Jesse's been on it, other folks. So thank you, Thomas.
Everyone is welcome.
I just want to introduce the person who's going to be showing this film next, and let her just tell you a little bit about it so that you can know whether you'd like to stay and watch it.
Give us a break of a few minutes.
Yeah, but she's just going to...
I'm going to do a short version of it, so it'll be an hour long. And I taught for 27 years, and I quit 4 years ago to self-fund the production of this film, talking about what we're talking about here. So I know it's preaching to the choir, but I hope this will be used as a tool to get our message to the public, because I was tired of only hearing about it in the teacher's lounge and it not getting out into the public.
So we're not starting at 8?
Oh, yes.
We're starting
at 8. 8 o'clock.
Oh, should we wait till 8?
Yeah, great.